Regardless of whether it's an old Miata or Megabuck colorful, driving a convertible is tied in with being seen. To drop the best is to open yourself to the world, and you absolutely will like doing as such in Aston Martin's extravagant new DB11 Volante. The DB11 in any of its structures is an auto anybody would need to be seen in. Traditionally proportioned yet completely present day, it advances Aston Martin without breaking too unexpectedly with its past. In making the drop-top Volante rendition, architects made the point not to mess excessively with the car's stunning outline. In spite of a reasonable piece of reshaping of the background to suit the instrument for the collapsing soft top, they've generally succeeded. The Volante keeps up the long, low, athletic position of the car, and, when raised, the 8-layer texture rooftop itself endures none of what one Aston architect calls the saturated umbrella look. Obviously, you'd be insane not to bring down the best and appreciate the full Volante encounter. Doing as such takes 14 seconds, and 16 seconds to raise it, and should be possible at speeds up to 31 miles per hour. It's in this express the DB11 most simply communicates its ethos as a terrific tourer for warm climate areas. While a considerable lot of the present automakers have confused the GT name as a type of no-nonsense elite edition, Aston permits its DB11 to be a genuine GT auto in the oldie convention, with an agreeable ride, an agreeable inside, and an easily strong yet not merciless measure of energy. The last comes cordiality of a form of a twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter V8 sourced from Mercedes-AMG, here creating 503 pull and 498 pounds-to-feet of torque. These satisfying characteristics are on the whole present in the hardtop DB11, as well, and keeping in mind that it's difficult to evaluate the contrasts amongst it and the Volante without consecutive drives, Aston's endeavors to reinforce the roofless model's basic unbending nature appear to have paid off. We saw nary a quiver, shake, or ignoble vibration amid our opportunity with the auto, despite the fact that we were driving on for the most part immaculate streets in the south of France. Around 98 pounds of the Volante's asserted 254-pound weight increase over the V8 car are because of auxiliary upgrades, and keeping in mind that the additional weight wasn't particularly evident, any DB11 can feel somewhat vast on limited European streets. By the by, we were inspired with a supple and charming ride quality, which shows no hint of brutality, even with the versatile dampers in their stiffest setting. Aston Martin composes the DB11 suspension modes independently from the powertrain settings, albeit the two adjustments share three levels: GT, Sport, and Sport Plus. We valued the significant identity shifts offered by these setups. Set everything to GT mode and you get a casual cruiser that joins the previously mentioned supple ride with to some degree drowsy throttle reaction, apathetic downshifts from the 8-speed program transmission, and a charming, stifled fumes note. Game and Sport Plus case modes are not really transformative, however they add expanded heave to the exact directing and somewhat less consistence from the dampers. It's the Sport and Sport Plus powertrain modes that truly breathe life into the auto. In these settings, the great twin-turbo V8 awakens, with more quick reaction to throttle inputs, snappier movements from the gearbox, and a really exciting soundtrack loaded with characterful pops and crackles. The Volante is best appreciated with the best sound, the suspension left in the casual GT mode, the powertrain in its most forceful Sport Plus mode, and a substantial foot on the correct pedal. All things considered, being heard is a surefire approach to guarantee being seen. With the best brought down, spectators will have the capacity to look at the DB11's rich inside, which is highly enhanced over Aston's of yore. Joining forces with Mercedes-Benz on its gadgets has done Aston ponders for modernizing the Lodge, as the command-based infotainment framework is prominently usable and the presentations all seem fresh and clear. All things being equal, some fit and complete issues continue and there are components of inexpensiveness inside. It appears to be justified, Despite all the trouble to spend somewhat additional for a portion of the more outrageous cowhide hues and extraordinary materials, as the auto we drove didn't exactly please with its dark upholstery and fairly dull piano dark trim. We've gotten this far without specifying the 600 horsepower, twin-turbo V12 that is such a central piece in top-level DB11 roadsters, and that is on account of the Volante manages without that motor alternative. Apparently, the thinking behind this choice needs to do with the weight reserve funds of the littler and lighter V8, in spite of the fact that there are natural contemplations as well, for example, China's powerful dislodging charge and certain CO2 controls in Europe. This may appear a bizarre exclusion from an auto whose statement of purpose is to a great extent one of liberality, however, as we found in our first drive of the V8 Roadster, and also trial of different Mercedes-AMG and Benz models fueled by the Spiffy V8, the Mercedes motor is sufficiently exceptional to give a convincing contrasting option to the 12-chambered with practically zero forefoots in execution. The quantity of barrels in the engine has little to do with the wonderful picture that the DB11 Volante tasks to others out and about, which truly is the thing that this auto is about. Being found in the adjusted and capable DB11 Volante is a treat, as is driving it.